we got a head coaching change, but not for the New Jersey Devils. And also, what are some of my thoughts heading into this matchup against the Montreal Canadiens? We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play announcer, Devils writer of Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credentialed media member, Trey Matthews. If you have not checked out my interview with Jeremy Brodeur, who is currently playing with the Adirondack Thunder and is also the son of legendary Devils goalie Martin Brodeur, please pause this episode and give it a listen. I thoroughly enjoyed my discussion with Jeremy, learning about his hockey upbringing, some of the leagues he's participated in, and also the funny stories he shared with him and his father. I enjoyed it, so I think you will too. What's on the agenda for today's episode? Well, in the first segment, we're going to react to some breaking news coming out of Utica because it's been a slow start for the Devils' AHL affiliate, the Comets, and they made a coaching change early in the season. Then in the second segment, I'll do a practice report. We'll play a soundbite from Sheldon Keefe during one of his recent media availabilities. And then in the third and final segment, the Devils are set to play against the Montreal Canadiens later tonight when this episode goes live, and inform you guys what you can anticipate since this is the Devils' first home game back from their Western Canada trip. Okay, the big news coming out of Utica. Kevin Dineen is out as the Utica Comets head coach. I must say, when I got the email notification and I saw that someone was relieved of their duties, this person is going to become the interim head coach, I nearly had a heart attack because I'm just like, wait a minute, did Sheldon Keefe already get the boot? Something must have happened. What's going on? And then I was like, oh, it's the Utica Comets, not the New Jersey Devils. The Comets are still winless to begin their season. They are 0-8-1. And you normally don't see coaching changes occur this early in the season, but obviously desperate times call for desperate measures. I will give you guys the background information courtesy of the Devils PR team, share my overall thoughts on the matter, and see where the Comets go from here. The Devils announced yesterday that they relieved Kevin Dineen of his head coaching duties of the club's AHL affiliate in Utica and named assistant coach Ryan Parent as interim head coach for the rest of the season. Just a little side note, he has no relation to Xavier Parent. Both have the same last name. Did some background research, couldn't find anything. So Ryan Parent and Xavier Parent have no relations with each other whatsoever. But digressing a little bit, the announcement was made by Devils president and general manager Tom Fitzgerald and Devils assistant general manager and Utica Comets general manager Dan McKinnon. Here's what McKinnon had to say about the move. Unfortunately, after the start we had this season, the organization felt it was time to make a change while the season is still young. We thank Kevin for his time with Utica and wish him and his family all the best moving forward. McKinnon added on to that and said, in his 7 years with our AHL affiliate, Ryan Parent has established a track record of transparently communicating with young players and teaching good habits while drawing on his own playing experiences. Those characteristics will serve him well in his new role, where he will need to develop, lead, and relate to players at all different stages of their pro hockey careers. Parent, who is 37, is in his 7th season with the organization, having been hired as an assistant coach for the Binghamton Devils back in 2018. It was the first coaching job of his career after retiring as an active player. Okay, Dineen has been the head coach for the Comets since 2021, so he's been with the organization for a few years. And a little bit of a fun fact, to start the 2021-2022 season, the Comets opened up that year on a 13-game winning streak. And I even remember at the conclusion of the Devils' 2021-2022 season, people were pushing for Lindy Ruff to get the boot and maybe promote Kevin Dineen as the next head coach for the Devils. I think the last time that Dineen had a head coaching job in the NHL was 2014. When it comes to the Comets and their current situation, I think this is one of the repercussions you face when your NHL affiliate are playoff contenders. Because here's what I noticed from afar. The past few seasons, the Devils' farm rankings have gone down, courtesy of the hockey writers. Coming into this season, they ranked the Devils number 24 out of all 32 NHL teams when it comes to farm systems. Last year, the hockey writers had the Devils at number 19, and the top 5 prospects they listed were Anton Salayev, Seamus Casey, Arseny Gritsyuk, Lenny Haminaho, and Mikhail Yegorov. But the catch is that Salayev is not with Utica. Gritsyuk is not with Utica. Haminaho is not with Utica. Yegorov is not with Utica. Casey is in Utica, but he wasn't there to initially begin the season. And unfortunately, as the Devils get better or as they eye their way towards the playoffs, you know that they're going to become buyers at the deadline and they're willing to deal away some of their notable prospects. Going back to the 2021-2022 season for Utica, when they began the year on a 13-game winning streak, they had players like Alexander Holtz, Fabian Zetterlund, Nikita Holtuk, Jesper Boquist, Kevin Ball, Akira Schmid. All those players I just listed are no longer in the Devils organization. Before, the Devils were making these big name trades for players like Paul Cotter, Timo Meyer, Jacob Markstrom. Their farm system was one of the best in the NHL, but year after year after year, you see more and more prospects be dealt away or be in the rumor mill for particular trades for New Jersey because the Devils aren't really focused on developing prospects. They're focused on trying to get to the playoffs and contend for a Stanley Cup. I'm not saying that's the sole reason as to why Utica is off to a less than ideal start, but I'm just trying to provide some context. And this is my perspective from the outside, which is I think the Comets have gotten worse by default year after year after year due to the Devils' success because some of these prospects aren't really going to see the light of day at the NHL level because the Devils, regardless of how you want to view them, they're a pretty stacked team. So I wish Perrant the best as he embarks on his new journey as interim head coach for the Comets. And players like Seamus Casey and Nolan Foote have been having good performances, but the Comets missed the playoffs last year, and I remember I had Ben Burnell of Daily Sentinel Sports appear on the show to talk about it. It doesn't seem like they're heading in the right direction, but at the same time, like I just said, as the Devils get better, they deal away some of their more notable prospects to get impactful players right away because the Devils' goal is to compete for a Stanley Cup. Whether it's this year, next year, or the year after that, that's their ultimate goal. They're not really focused on developing the future. Whether that's fair or not, I don't really know, but that's just my perspective from the outside looking in. But let me know what you guys thought of the Comets' move of relieving Dineen of his head coaching duties. Now, before we hear from head coach Sheldon Keefe at a recent Devils practice, let me tell you guys about Game Time. I've actually used the Game Time app before to purchase myself some MLB and NBA tickets. Game Time Picks creation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more, all in pricing. Toggling this feature shows a total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views, get a good view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, everybody. Okay. I like to call this segment the practice report because, as you guys know, I've been trying to integrate more sound bites into my episodes. Sometimes I can get them myself when I'm credentialed for a game or I'm on the road with New Jersey. But obviously, my good friends over at the Devils organization, they always publish the media availabilities, and I listen back to them to see if I can spark any discussion surrounding what a player might say or what Sheldon Keefe says. And in today's episode, we're going to play Sheldon Keefe's soundbite from a recent Devils practice. Here's what he had to say to the media. Take a listen.
Coming back from this road trip, carrying the momentum, what do you want to see your team do, especially tomorrow, just to keep things going?
Yeah, I just, keep the energy high, keep, the vibes good, understand the things that we've done well that have put us in a position to win games, and understand the things that we need to do better. So it really just keep growing as a team. That's the big thing. And then, I think take the road mindset to home ice. And I think my approach in coming back from long road trips usually is to maintain a bit of that mindset in terms of how we prepare. It was a very short practice today for the same kind of reason. This day here, especially after traveling back yesterday, it really is a bit of an extension of the road trip itself. So from a mindset point of view, we're still on the road here, and we've got to have that mindset and bring it to home ice.
What has Brett Pesce brought to this group, not just on the ice, in the locker room and off the ice?
Well, he's a great presence. He's a very calm guy that comes through his experience and his personality. But he's also, I think he's a people person. He's talking to everyone and helps the vibe of the team. And then he just brings on the ice consistency, reliability. It's been really nice to have him for sure.
You talk about that mindset, Sheldon. I'm trying to understand, what is the biggest difference between a home and an away mindset that has to sort of, that you're at, right? Like, where are those big differences?
Yes, it's a good question. I mean, I think for me, when you get out on the road, I think the only focus is to play a good, hard, sound game. You go into that game expecting that the opposition is going to be at their best because they're on home ice. And the priority is just to execute the game plan, and that's really it. I found on home ice, in a lot of our games, we haven't had the same type of mentality. It's almost like we have to prove something on home ice. We really just got to go and continue to be who we are. As I said, do the things that we've done really well, embrace that, and continue to clean up the smaller things so we can get as close to that 60-minute performance that we're looking for as possible.
I do want to give Brett Pesce some credit. I think his defensive impact has been really solid for New Jersey. Now, I tried looking at his stats to compare and contrast with his fellow teammates, but it's kind of hard just because he hasn't played in that many games up to this point. Right now, he's 8th on the team in blocks with 10. He has a Corsi for percentage of 53.5%, which is about on par for his career. So I think Pesce has been really solid for New Jersey, and he's gotten the best out of somebody like Luke Hughes. And honestly, Luke Hughes' defensive game needs a lot more love. And I think it stems with Brett Pesce because the two of them would rehab together. They were trying to get their way back into the lineup, and it was a slow process, but they were doing it side by side with one another. And as a result, they have built up some decent chemistry, and I love to see that. And when it comes to the Devils' home performance, they definitely need to do better performing in front of their home fans. And it's kind of weird how they perform better on the road. And I think the same can be said from a couple seasons ago when the Devils had 52 wins. I think they performed better on the road than they did at home. And honestly, that's not really a bad trait to have because sometimes you do need to perform on the road when the fans aren't on your side and you got to try to find a way to tune out that noise. So I will never fault a team who performs really good on the road, but the Devils do need to perform at home a little bit better. And hopefully they could get some of that home cooking on the Montreal Canadiens. So we're going to preview the Canadiens and Devils game momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And now, let me tell you guys about Indeed. I've actually used Indeed before to book myself some play-by-play gigs. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree. Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Listeners of the show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support my show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, let's talk about the Habs and the Devils. The matchup that's going to take place tonight at the Prudential Center. Here's some more background information on Montreal. The key to the Canadiens' success hinges on three young forwards: Captain Nick Suzuki, age 25, Cole Caulfield, age 23, and Uri Slafkovsky, age 20. Suzuki can become the first Canadiens player to lead the team in points in 4 consecutive seasons since Max Pacioretty from 2011 to 2017. Caulfield has led or co-led the team in goals in 2 of the past 3 seasons, while Slafkovsky signed a long-term extension in July following a season which the former first overall pick established himself with 20 goals and 50 points to go along with increased playing time. Another emerging difference maker for the Canadiens is top netminder Sam Montembeault, who recorded a save percentage of .900 or higher in 70% of his starts in the 2023-2024 season. So he recorded a save percentage of .900 or higher 28 times out of 40, which is the highest percentage among NHL goaltenders with at least 20 starts. I think one of the keys for the Devils is that I'm curious to see what they could do on special teams. Coming into this matchup, the Devils have the 5th best power play in the NHL at 30.4%. The Canadiens have the 11th best, 21.7%. Penalty kill, Canadiens are middle of the pack, 82.2%. Devils are 83.3%, 9th in the entire league. Similar to what Jersey Joe texted me a few days ago when helping me preview the Oilers and Devils, he said, keep an eye out for the Devils on special teams. And this is going to be one of my main takeaways heading into this matchup, which is I'm curious to see how the Devils capitalize on the power play yet again, because getting that second goal of the game against the Oilers was crucial for New Jersey, because the Oilers deserve to win that game more than they did. If I'm being completely honest, just my unbiased opinion, because the Oilers came off and running, and they were giving Jake Allen a run at everything they possibly had, despite not having Connor McDavid out there. And I want to see what the Devils can do in an encore performance, because while the Devils weren't the better team compared to the Oilers in that particular matchup, they were still opportunistic, which is their first shot of the game, thanks to Stefan Nason, was a goal. I think that's my main takeaway heading into this matchup, just What can the Devils do on special teams when given the opportunities? And another thing I want to highlight, and I touched on it in one of my more recent post-game recap episodes. I know sometimes Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen let in some soft goals here or there, but call me crazy, and I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not. I get that the numbers indicate that the Devils have anywhere from mediocre to poor goaltending, but something is passing the eye test for me when it comes to Markstrom and Allen. I don't think they're as bad as the numbers indicate. I get it. Stats tell a very important story, but at least from my perspective as both a media personnel and a fan, Markstrom and Allen have looked way better than any other goaltenders the Devils had last year. Remember Vitek Vanecek and Akira Schmid? What do I mean by eye test? It's just like there's something different about Allen and Markstrom. And I think more times than not, they do look strong, but sometimes the defense can let them down. That's just my personal opinion. I do believe Markstrom's going to get the start in tonight's matchup. This episode goes live at 6:15 a.m. Eastern time. A lot can happen. A lot can change. Not my final word, just making an educated guess. But let me know what you guys think. What did you think of the Kevin Dineen situation in Utica? And what are some of your thoughts heading into this matchup against the Canadiens, the Devils' first home game since returning from Western Canada? Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.